struggling to cut himself free. The rigors of operating at that level were too much, however, and he passed out and died. 3 days later, both the bodies floated up to near the surface as the dive team was retrieving their equipment. In the last, Shaw kept his promise. Alright, so after hearing those stories, and before I get into my thoughts and my opinions, as always, I'm definitely interested in the listeners' opinions and thoughts on these stories, and any more evidence that the listener might be privy to that wasn't in any of these articles. So please comment and engage. Don't be shy. So, all right, my thoughts on at least that last two stories. I feel as though they kind of show the opposite when it comes to humanity and decency and the seriousness of just being humane. The one that took place in Kentucky when a man was trapped in the cave. And it kind of turned into a spectacle. Well, it didn't kind of turn into it. They had to call in the National Guard. It turned into a spectacle where people were serving booze and, had a pretty sure food and had souvenirs. And the guy ended up dying. I don't know if it was exactly because of, the fumbling of the rescue attempts, along with, the crowds and all the stuff, all the ridiculousness going on with that. And the other one is a man who risked his life and unfortunately lost his life, retrieving the remains for a family that had lost their son 10 years prior. So those two are kind of interesting, how they can, I guess you can weave those together and kind of inspect how people handled those two cases. All right, so the first story about the couple who went missing in Philadelphia. I am a Philadelphia native. I'm from Philly, spent most of my life in Philly. And South Street is a heavily populated area, especially heavily populated, and there's definitely cameras everywhere. Even, I think it took place in the early 2000s. So it's kind of weird. I always find stories like this kind of strange when there's no camera footage of people just going missing, just disappearing, and just never heard from again. Especially in the modern age where cameras are everywhere. You're being filmed, being recorded 24/7 pretty much, especially when you're out and about moving around in the streets. So for them to go missing with no trace is always a eerie thing for me. It could be something that they just, something unfortunate happened. Maybe they got in an accident, as I read from that article, and it was just right time, right place, or wrong time, wrong place. And everything just matched up where they weren't caught on camera or anything like that. But all right, so I'm going to end it right here. I want to thank you so much for checking out the Just Here in the Dark podcast with me, your host, Shine, on Weird Wednesday. It's definitely a little bit late. It's definitely not Wednesday anymore. But I want to thank you so much for checking out the podcast anyway. And like I said, please engage, man. Interact, ask questions, comments, anything like that is definitely appreciated. So until next time, have a good one.